Hi, VencoreWeather.com meteorologist Paul Dorian here on Tuesday, December 30th. It turned a few degrees colder yesterday compared to the day before. Today will be a couple of degrees colder compared to yesterday, and then tomorrow will step down to even colder levels. High temperatures on Wednesday, New Year's Eve, looks like they'll stay right around 30 or 32 degrees up and down the I-95 corridor, and then it gets very cold tomorrow night as we ring in the new year of 2015. Temperatures could very well drop into the teens in many suburban locations up and down I-95 as we break into 2015. It stays cold right through the end of the work week, but by the weekend it looks like the next storm threat will become primarily a rain event here in the I-95 corridor, as indications are the low pressure area will slide up to our west, keeping us on the warmer side of the storm. And although it may be cold enough right at the onset for a bit of snow or sleet in the I-95 corridor region, it looks like this will turn into primarily a rain event from later Saturday into Sunday. More cold air follows that storm for the early part of next week. Well, let's start off by looking at the latest U.S. surface map. First of all, frontal system that reinforced the colder air here in the Mid-Atlantic region is now stalled out and along the southeastern U.S. coastal region. The big story, the big weather story today is this very, very strong Arctic high pressure system up over northern Montana right now, 1052 millibars. That translates to about just a little bit above 31 inches on the barometer. Very, very strong Arctic high pressure, and it is spreading to the south and east with some Arctic air, and again will turn even colder overnight tonight into the day on Wednesday. Wednesday will probably be the coldest day of the week, and certainly tomorrow night as we ring in the new year, it'll be very cold with temperatures dropping into the teens in many suburban locations along I-95. This very strong Arctic high pressure will also send very cold air south and westward into California. They'll have a very cold start to the new year for the Rose Bowl parade, perhaps even some snow in places not too familiar with getting snow in Arizona and even in parts of Nevada, such as in and around Las Vegas. Could see some snow over the next 48 hours or so. Well, as far as today's cloud scene is concerned here in the I-95 corridor, very similar to yesterday morning in that we have a weak low pressure area to the south throwing some clouds into our region right now, but you can already see the back edge here. This is the latest colorized infrared satellite loop from the Penn State Ewald site. The back edge cutting across the Ohio Valley, and it looks like it'll stay cloudy for the next several hours, but by this afternoon skies should clear up and down the I-95 corridor. There should be plenty of sunshine by late today from D.C. to Philadelphia to New York City as these morning clouds pull off to the south and east. A mostly clear night tonight, turning quite cold, and again, mostly sunny on Wednesday, but quite cold for this time of the year with high temperatures struggling to reach the freezing mark up and down the I-95 corridor, and then very cold tomorrow night with temperatures dropping into the teens in many suburban locations along I-95. Well, let's kind of focus in on the weekend storm threat. Again, no big storms through the work week, basically cold and dry for the next few days. Again, there's a weak low pressure area right now that could throw a little bit of flurry activity south and east of the District of Columbia over the next couple of hours, but for the most part it stays dry for the next few days right through Friday. And on the cold side, yesterday we talked about a ridge in the upper part of the atmosphere across the southeastern part of the nation, and indeed this is the forecast from last night's Zero-Z GFS ensemble run for the height anomalies at 500 millibars for this Saturday. And this has a big effect on the storm track for this weekend. And again, right here, the oranges and reds showing above normal heights here at 500 millibars. In other words, higher pressure than normal right along the southeastern part of the U.S. And here's the upper level trough associated with what will become a pretty significant storm this weekend. But given this high pressure ridging in the southeastern part of the country, this helps to push this storm track up to the west of the I-95 corridor, and the surface low should head into the Ohio Valley, keeping us on the warmer side of the storm, and this favors rainfall. Again, it might be cold enough right at the onset for a brief period of snow or sleet or some combination of the two, but this is looking more and more like primarily a rain event for the I-95 corridor from later Saturday into Sunday. Now let's take a look at a few different individual computer forecast models for the weekend storm threat. And here's the forecast from last night's 0Z GFS model run, the operational GFS model for Saturday morning. Do have strong high pressure, cold high pressure up to the north, sitting over southeastern Canada. Kind of a damming pattern here with cold air down the coastline, south and east of the Appalachian Mountains. Here's the development of the storm by Saturday morning. Now let's kind of walk through the next several hours here. This is 6 hours later, the advancement of the precipitation towards the Mid-Atlantic region, and now by Saturday evening, here we can see some sleet and snow up across the interior sections of the Mid-Atlantic region. Again, this is at the onset of this precipitation event, but notice the position of the surface low well to the west of the I-95 corridor in the Ohio Valley, and that favors primarily a rain event. After this time, 6 hours later, basically a rain event here from D.C. to Philadelphia, even to New York City. Just north of New York City, the snow is hanging on for a little while. Again, this is using last night's 0Z GFS model run. All these maps from tropicaltidbits.com. Another 6 hour movement here, the storm well to the north and west of the I-95 corridor. All rain here in the I-95 corridor as of Sunday morning. Well, now let's take a look at the updated version of the GFS model called the parallel version. Again, this is using the 0Z run from last night. Now, you remember yesterday we showed some GFS parallel maps that really had a snowstorm for the I-95 corridor from Sunday into Monday. It has gone by way of most of the other models, pushing the surface low pressure area into the Ohio Valley and basically keeping us on the warmer side of the storm here in the I-95 corridor. In other words, favoring primarily a rain event. Saturday morning, same as the operational GFS, strong, cold, high pressure in the southeastern part of Canada. Low pressure gathering itself over across the southern part, central part of Texas. Let's now jump ahead through 6 hour increments, and here you can see the precipitation racing to the north and east by Saturday evening. Primarily a rain event here according to the parallel version of the GFS model, maybe beginning as snow or sleet up across the New York City region early Saturday evening. But notice the position of the surface low well to the west in the Ohio Valley, and that's in large part thanks to that strong upper level ridge hanging on here in the southeastern part of the country, right in this region, that forces the storm to move up to the north and west of the I-95 corridor. 6 hours later, heavy rain here depicted by the GFS parallel run for later Saturday night into early Sunday morning. This indeed is the Sunday morning forecast. All rain from D.C. to New York City with the surface low well to the north and west over the eastern Great Lakes. Well, one other look at a model. This is the European model run from last night, 0Z, and the European model agrees with the U.S. GFS models in that it pushes the surface low for the weekend storm into the Ohio Valley. This is the forecast map for Saturday evening. Again, to the west of the I-95 corridor, keeping the I-95 region from D.C. to Philly to New York City on the warmer side of the storm, primarily a rain event. 24 hours later, here's what the European model has: a very strong low pressure area just off the coast of Maine. It comes down, it drops down to a 977 millibar low by Sunday evening, but again, primarily a rain event. It looks like right now in the I-95 corridor, very cold air follows that storm for the early part of next week. Well, that's it for now. For VencoreWeather.com, I'm meteorologist Paul Dorian.